I want to start this episode by building a picture. Imagine sitting on a paddleboard in the middle of a lake, no music, no phone, no rush to be anywhere. Just the sound of the water gently moving beneath you, mountains all around, and the sun catching the surface of the lake. People laughing in the distance as they paddle past, families making memories, kids jumping into the water without a care in the world. I remember just sitting there, doing absolutely nothing. And for some reason a thought came into my head that I haven't been able to shake since. What a time to be alive. Not because life is perfect, not because everything suddenly fell into place, but because for the first time in a long time, I stopped long enough to notice how good life already was. It's strange, isn't it? We spend so much of our lives trying to build a better future that we forget to enjoy the present we're working so hard for. I've spent the last few years worrying about work, thinking about the next role, the next opportunity, trying to prove myself, wondering where my career is going, letting situations at work take up far more space in my head than they probably deserved. And sat there on that paddleboard, I asked myself a question. If I wasn't here tomorrow, what would actually happen? The honest answer? Work would just carry on. Someone else would pick up my responsibilities. Meetings would still happen. Emails would still be sent. Targets would still need hitting. The business would keep moving. Not because people don't care, but because that's what businesses do. They're designed to continue. For years, I'd allowed work to feel like the center of my world. I'd carried stress home. I'd replayed conversations. I'd worry about things I couldn't control. I'd given so much mental energy to a place that, if we're being honest, could replace any of us eventually. Then another question came into my head. What about at home? That answer was completely different. Nobody replaces me as my girl's dad. Nobody creates the memories they'll associate with their childhood in quite the same way. Nobody else gets to have our little traditions, our silly jokes, our conversations on long car journeys, the laughs that only make sense to us, the stories we'll still be telling 20 years from now. Those moments can't be delegated. There isn't another version of me waiting in the wings, and it made me realise I'd got my priorities slightly backwards. I wasn't working to support my life. Sometimes without even noticing, I was living my life around work. I don't think I'm alone in that. We're taught from a very young age that success means climbing, more responsibility, more money, a better title, another promotion, and there's nothing wrong with ambition, but ambition becomes dangerous when it quietly convinces you that your worth is measured by your productivity. Because one day you wake up and you realise you've spent years chasing achievements while the people you love have simply been hoping for more of your time. One thing that really hit me was watching everyone around that lake. Nobody really cared what anybody did for a living. Nobody knew who earned the most. Nobody knew who had the biggest house. None of that mattered. Everyone was just enjoying the same sunshine, the same water, the same fresh air. For a couple of hours, we were all exactly the same. Human beings making the most of a summer's day. It reminded me how equal life can be when we strip everything else away. And I wonder how much pressure we'd all take off ourselves if we remembered that a bit more often. I've also started thinking about what my daughters will remember about me. I doubt they'll remember how hard I worked. They probably won't remember my job title. I don't even think they know it now. They won't know what salary I earned. But they'll remember whether I was present, whether I put my phone down, whether I listened when they wanted to tell me about their day, whether I joined in, whether I laughed, whether I made them feel important. Those are the things that become someone's childhood. Those are the things that last. So maybe success isn't about what we build professionally. Maybe success is being someone your family is excited to spend time with. Maybe it's having stories instead of regrets. Maybe it's reaching the end of your life knowing you were present for the people who mattered the most. That afternoon on Lake Barla didn't solve my problems. Work was still there when I got home. Life carried on exactly as before. The only thing that changed was me. Whenever work starts feeling overwhelming again, I know exactly where my mind will go. Back to sitting quietly on a paddleboard, looking across that lake, thinking to myself, this is what it's all for. Not the emails, not the meetings, not the stress. This. The moments you can't buy back. So if you're listening to this while driving to work, sitting in traffic, or already thinking about tomorrow's to-do list, Here's something I'd like you to ask yourself. If the people you love described you in 10 years' time, would they mostly talk about what you achieved? Or would they talk about how you made them feel? Because when everything else fades away, I think that's what really matters. And maybe, just maybe, that's what a time to be alive really means. Thanks for listening, and I'll catch you in the next episode. Be sure to follow the podcast for more episodes like this. Stay safe, take care, and I'll see you in the next one.